As I'm sure you know, our lectionary, our readings go in a 3-year cycle. 1 year we read from the Gospel of Matthew, 1 year the Gospel of Luke, and 1 year the Gospel of Mark. And then the Gospel of John is peppered throughout the special seasons of the year. But one time in that 3-year cycle, there's this great interruption. And it's these 5 weeks, the last 2 today and the next 2. And we read John chapter 6. The great bread of life discourse. So whenever there's something quirky about things, I always like to ask, why does Holy Mother Church do this? Why does she give us this particular thing? Why do we take this break from the norm? I had a great privilege. This past week I got to go on vacation. I just got back late last night. And I was in Missouri. Not much of a vacation, but it was great. I was with my classmates that I got ordained with this past year. So it was kind of like a first-year reunion. And, when you're in seminary, and we were reflecting upon all the great things of the past year. But as a seminarian, when you're dreaming about becoming a priest, you dream of, saying Mass. You dream of absolving sins. You don't dream of that day when you get to wake up on a Sunday morning and say, all right, great, today I get to celebrate 4 Masses, and the same readings with the same music, and give the same boring homily again and again and again. In many ways, it's the sameness, doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes it loses its flavor. Kind of like one of the nights we had this incredible steak, Midwestern steak. If you've never had it, it's unbelievable. But I would imagine if you had that every single day, that steak would soon lose its flavor, its greatness. And so I think the church gives us this beautiful reflection or chance to read John 6, to step back. In a lot of sacristies, in a lot of churches I've been to, there's this great, it's like a placard or a picture, I don't know, but it has this little saying. It says, "Priest of God, say this Mass as if it was your first Mass, your last Mass, and your only Mass." In many ways, step back and just get back to the basics. Get back at the fundamental of the amazing thing that you're about to enter into here. Don't let it become tasteless and routine. Our responsorial psalm was taste and see the goodness of the Lord. Such vivid imagery to taste it, to not allow repetition time and again, to allow it to lose its flavor. This great reading, it's supposed to be kind of a shock. You can only imagine, we end at verse 51. So for many, many verses now, Jesus has been teaching the hearers, I'm the bread of life. I've came down from heaven. I'm going to give you the bread that if you eat it, you will never die. And then at the very end he says, and that bread that I will give you is my flesh, the life of the world. It's like boom, like that. No one has ever said this in the history of civilization. No one has ever said, the bread I will give is my flesh for the life of the world. And as we hear in the next couple weeks, my flesh is true food, my blood is true drink. One of my favorite days is being a priest here was the day of First Holy Communion. And you see these kids, 7 years old, 8 years old, and for months, even years, some of them, they were dreaming about being able to receive our Lord in the most holy Eucharist, receiving body, blood, soul, and divinity for the very first time. And I imagine they probably weren't dreaming about receiving him day in or week in and week out, week in and week out. And you see as they get older that initial excitement and joy kind of wears off. Kind of the excitement of tasting our Lord for the first time, that taste becomes more and more flavorless. So I love that our church, every 3 years says, take a step back, hear these words again as if you were hearing them for the first time. Don't allow what we do week in and week out as we approach this altar to become tasteless, but taste and see just how good the Lord is, that He loves us so much that he would even allow his most amazing gift to become so routine. And so I would offer for a reflection, imagine if those words that the priest gets to read in sections all the time, if they were the words that were given to us. O faithful Christian, pray this Mass, receive this Eucharist, as if it was the first time, or the last time, or the only time you would receive him.